When in Dublin, you can't miss St. Patrick's Cathedral, Trinity College in the Long Room Library, or the Halfpenny Bridge over the River Liffey. But there's one more Dublin icon that possibly tops them all, the legendary Irish brew known as Guinness. And for that, we go to the Guinness Storehouse.
Fancy a pint? Well, how about 720,000 pints? Take a look up. That is exactly how many you can fit into just one of the maturation vats here at Guinness Storehouse. And oh yeah, there's 32 more of these here.
And this is just the beginning of this legendary brewery.
What was it that Arthur had invented? Was the beer already like that? He improved on it? When you have a Guinness, it's so distinct.
So Arthur was brewing ale as a young man, as that was the only style of beer that existed in Ireland at the time. He actually went over to London and tried porter that had become very popular with the market porters on the docks, and he actually wanted to brew his own porter. So he came back here to St. James's Gate, and that's when he started roasting barley for the first time. And I guess that's what is one of the things that can really set Guinness apart, this amazing history of roasting barley, which we still do here every day at St. James's Gate.
And why is the brewery named St. James Gate? Well, because of the medieval gate and holy well of St. James that used to stand right here. The Guinness Storehouse was built in 1902, but this uber-modern version opened in the year 2000. It's a 7-story museum of sorts dedicated to all things Guinness, welcoming 1.7 million visitors every year. All this from one man's dream.
On New Year's Eve in 1759, Arthur Guinness signed the lease and built his brewery right here. The interesting thing is that lease happened to be for 9,000 years. I just say that's confidence. He knew people would be enjoying his brew for a very, very long time.
Now, look closely at the signature on that lease. Look familiar? It is the same signature seen around the world on every bottle of Guinness. Also on every bottle is that iconic harp. It comes from the famous 14th century Irish Brian Boru harp, preserved in Trinity College, Dublin. In 1945, the Irish government also wanted to use the harp as its official symbol, but had to face the harp the opposite way because Guinness had already trademarked it in 1876. You gotta love a country where the beer comes first. You will taste, experience, and learn lots more Guinness trivia here at the Guinness Storehouse, including attending the Guinness Academy, where you will learn how to pour the perfect pint.
Keep going until it reaches a little bit perfect. Look at this.
Pretty good.
Fabulous.
But I got a little extra credit lesson from an expert, Guinness Storehouse executive chef Justin O'Connor. So here's how you really pour the perfect pint. It's a pint so nice you pour it twice. For the first pour,
we're going to pull this pint, pull it down, and keep it at a 45-degree angle.
You've done this a time or two?
A couple of times. And just before it gets to the harp, and we let ours just settle there.
And then comes the important part, patience.
Now, why do we let it settle first before we fill it to the top?
I suppose what happens next, we're after getting lots of nitrogen through that point, so that's where you're seeing all the waves and the clouds.
Once the waves and the clouds have settled a bit, it is time for the second pour, where you push the bar away this time and fill until you get what is called just proud of the rim.
And this is the scary part. It's right over the top. Ah, work of art. That's the perfect pint.
And now that we have our perfect pint, we pair it with the perfect bites. Here at the 1837 Bar and Brasserie. Yes, there is an entire restaurant here inside the storehouse.
The restaurant we're sitting in here at the moment is called 1837, and that was the first year that there was a reference to Guinness and food. And it was Benjamin Disraeli, the British Prime Minister. He had some oysters and some Guinness, and he wrote a lovely letter to his sister, I believe, to tell her how well they paired well together. So that was the first.
Interesting, and that's how the restaurant got its name.
That's where the restaurant got its name.
So that's why our first course is that legendary pairing of local oysters and Guinness. Today, it gets an extra upgrade with Guinness Extra. Next, more tradition with traditional Irish stew served up with some Irish soda bread and Irish butter. And this Irish stew has a not-so-secret ingredient in it, a splash of Guinness. And for dessert, well, of course, there's another splash of Guinness in that chocolate mousse, which pairs perfectly with a draft.
When you're drinking the draft Guinness, you'll get like a slight caramel flavour and a little bit of coffee on the background to it. So all those three things is a match made with chocolate. It really is. The two of them just blend well together.
And finally, to top it all off, head to the very top floor for a view from the Gravity Bar, the highest bar in all of Dublin, with incredible 360-degree views of delightful Dublin, where you can reflect about one man's dream that became an Irish legacy. Time to make a toast as the Irish do.
Sláinte.
Sláinte.